In the mid-1970s, a small group of people traveled out into the Canadian wilderness with who they believed was God's chosen voice on earth. But it wasn't all peace and love. Is what ended up happening the worst cult story of all time? It's certainly in the running. So let's get slobber and drunk and do a little amateur surgery on Roch Thériault and the Anthill Kids.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
It's alive!
with you.
They're coming to get you.
By the power of Christ. This is
Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I'm Zach,
I'm Spar.
and today we're going to talk about a real French Canadian piece of shit.
God, I fucking hate this guy, Zach. I hate him so much.
Yeah, he is definitely in the running for biggest piece of shit of all time in my book. So
He's way up there.
he was, let me think. See, he was a polygamist. He was a masochist,
Oh, yeah.
narcissist. He had all the cysts down.
He had almost all the cysts.
Yeah.
Too bad he didn't have one that would have killed him when he was young.
Well, Matt, let's shit this turd out and just get it out of the way. I'm tired of thinking about this motherfucker.
I gotta get him out of my head, man. But Roch Thériault was born on May 16th, 1947 in Saguenay Valley of Quebec. And these words, some of these I'm gonna have wrong. Okay? Saguenay Valley?
Canada.
Okay.
He was a French Canadian.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
His mother and father, Hyacinthe and Perrette. That's as close as I'm going to get, I think, with how those.
Hey, I don't get any better either.
Those are spelled. He was the second of 7 kids, and he claimed that his father was an abusive drunk. Now, to get into this a little further, his father denies that. But of course you would. His mother denies that. Maybe to cover his father. All 6 of his siblings deny that. So do all their neighbors.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say.
you're going to find out that what comes out of Roch's mouth is almost always bullshit. Just complete. God, I hate this guy.
99.9%. Yeah.
Plus, his father was so abusive, he stayed home till he was 20. He lived at home with an abusive father till he was 20. God, see, it's just starting and I want to kill him.
Yeah.
But
Didn't he claim that his dad used to like play a game with him, like kicking their shins with with the steel-toed boots?
Yeah, it said it was. I think it was called Bone, where they would sit around the table, just kick each other with the shins, and the first one to quit loses. Well, I'd quit before I got kicked. I'm the winner.
No shit, right?
Plus, I don't. Yeah, and once again, he said that, so most likely bullshit.
Bullshit.
But his parents were white berets, so they were pilgrims of St. Michael, which is part of the Catholic Church, which is basically they roam door to door selling Catholicism. So
Right,
that sounds like a lot of fun.
They were almost a cult themselves. I mean, that's a pretty right wing.
Well, they said they'd go to the door, ring the doorbell, and the kids would start doing prayers or singing songs or something while the father was sitting there talking to him. I think it was just trying to be to the annoyance factor of just put some money in here and I'll leave. like it was that bad. Just
Mister, just give me $1.
Yeah, put something in here because his father did think like the Pope should like rule the world, basically.
Yeah.
Which seems like a terrible idea.
There were some serious anti-Semitic things that I read as well. So.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have that.
Yeah.
But in 1953, Roch was 6 when they moved to Thetford Mines, which sounds like a beautiful place because it was an asbestos mining town. So we're just mining cancer.
Sounds great.
Too bad.
Hey, pass me the cancer, please. Can I have some more cancer, please?
Throw him in there and lock the door. But so yeah, in the spring of 1960, at 13 years old, He drops out of the 7th grade. 'Cause he's finished. He knows everything he needed to know.
I was gonna say,
like
he took himself out of school. He says, "I am smart enough."
yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly what he
Oh my
thought.
god!
So even though he despised Catholicism at this time, he started studying the Old Testament and Revelations, and he actually memorized Revelations.
I mean, if you're gonna memorize one, I mean that's the most metal book in the Bible.
It's pretty metal, but he wasn't looking at it that way. This guy, I think, was always looking for an angle. As you'll see as we go, he's always looking for an angle for something.
Right.
So in November 11th, 1967, he's 20 years old, and he marries a 17-year-old Francais Grignard, and then he moves out. So his abusive. He finally moved out of that abusive father's home that he had.
But wasn't it just like within a quarter mile of his parents?
No, well, they moved to Montreal.
Oh, okay.
And he became a chimney inspector, which I don't know. I guess if you've got
Nothing
a
screams, "I am smarter than you," than being a chimney inspector. So
yeah, but he's not. This guy never does any fucking work. So don't think he was actually cleaning it. He was just looking at me. Oh, you probably ought to call somebody. Have him come over here, or you should say it because I can't do it.
No. My French Canadian accent is muy bad, dude.
So in 1969, Francine gives birth to their first child. Guess what his name is?
Was this Roch Jr.?
Oh, yeah. You bet it's Roch Jr.
Can you smell what the Rock's cooking? Roch Jr.
Oh, okay. Fuck you, Zach. You eat shit. I should have known that was coming up. I didn't even think.
Oh, you set yourself up for that shit.
And then in 1971, she gives birth to their second one, Francois. I like that. Well, that reminds me of that Misfits song.
Yeah.
The Return of the Fly. Okay.
Yeah.
He also gets a job at the fire department, but all he does is inspections too. Like this guy's never going to sign. He didn't put his life on the line for nothing. Like he just does inspections. Like he walks around, looks at stuff and says, fix this. Well, I'm not going to, but somebody should.
Yeah.
So that's always what he does. But then he does have ulcer surgery, which gives him digestive problems and pain.
What do they call it?
I forget. I don't remember what the name of it was.
It's easy to remember, Matt.
What is it?
Dumping syndrome.
Dumping. That is, yeah, because it's like it gets solid and yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah. But yeah, he medicates with booze and he loses his
he
job.
started out on painkillers, but then he quit the painkillers, switched to drugs and alcohol, and eventually
booze is cheaper.
Then he went to booze because it's cheaper and easier to get. Yeah.
Yep. So they move back to the mines, and he starts making his own mugs and traveling around and sells them. I gotta imagine they're not high quality mugs that he's selling. And he joins Club Aramis.
What's Club Aramis?
It's another church type deal. It's just like this guy's looking. He even tried politics for a while, and he was voted out of that. They kicked him out of that. He tried Club Aramis, and they liked him at first because he's got parts of the Bible memorized, and so he thinks he can weasel. He weasel right in there.
Yeah, were these the Seventh-day Adventist?
Nope, he's not got there yet.
Okay.
He weasels into everything until he finds something. But he starts going out on his wife while he's selling mugs, and he meets Giselle. This is
Giselle.
Yeah, this is going to be the first member of his cult, and an extremely unlucky woman. You can believe it. So Francine forecloses on their home, and she takes the kids and divorces him.
Okay,
that's one shining star in this story, and I think there's only two more. There's like only two more stars in the story. It's just everything else is just horrible and awful. So,
oh my God.
They start with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. After he does join that, he starts in at that whenever it's super small when it comes through this area. There's only like 7 members or something when he joins in. So it's like he caught it at the beginning. And so he's already right up at the top.
So it's like he's thinking this is like a triangle scheme, and he's at the top, and he only needs to get 12 more people, and then he gets his money back. Is that what it is?
Kind of.
Okay.
He's super happy that he's right there at the top of it. So they start the quit smoking program, and he does go door to door with the SDA. And with the stop smoking program, he starts getting more and more followers. Like, this is where people start coming in, and he gets to talk to him. He gets more and more power. They let
Okay.
him have, like, when people start to join, he's like an initiation guy for them.
Okay.
So
He's a hell of a car salesman.
yeah, he's definitely a salesman. But he gets into giving lectures at these meetings, and he starts to try to get a grip on these kids. Like, he wants them to be around him constantly. They all start, well, they don't start staying there yet, but he wants them to be around as much as possible. So he's like trying to find things for them to do so that they're around him.
Right.
Okay.
Not culty at all.
No. This guy covers every fucking base of the cult thing, though. Just
Wow.
everything that you can do. He starts getting back into the end of the world sermons, and he meets some women who start to believe in what he's saying. He comes up with his own medical treatments.
What?
And yeah, because grape juice will treat leukemia. We'll find out that doesn't work later, but that's what he says.
Shit to Sherlock.
Yeah. He becomes a spiritual healer because he said that he can do it.
He can.
There is no proof of any kind ever. There's only
it's just him bullshitting, saying, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
That's all he ever does. That's it. That's the end of this guy's stuff.
Oh my god.
He's in his late 30s, and most of his followers are female in their late teens and early 20s. So this is when he does get a group of 4 or 5 that start staying at Giselle's apartment, which is his girlfriend.
Right.
But he just lets them move in. Well, not yet. He does take it easy at first.
Okay.
Giselle does get mad because he assigns Giselle she's got to have a role. He wants her to feel important. So she needs to clean the house and cook food for him while they talk about their religion and do group massages.
Oh yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah. I'm sure she fucking loved that. Oh fuck.
Okay, so in late 70s,
I wouldn't even got those words out of my mouth, and my wife would have slapped the shit out of me.
I'd have been punched in
them. Half that sentence,
and rightfully so. So in late 77, they're at a non-smoking retreat. He meets a few more followers, starts talking more and more about the end of the world. Because if you want to get them in, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
through fear. Thank God that doesn't happen anymore. So there's no reason for jobs or school anymore. And in this retreat, he goes for a walk, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to go by himself. You're not allowed to come.
Why is that?
Because on this particular walk, he gets a vision from God. It's the equivalent of the kid you knew in school who had a girlfriend, but she was from a different school and you didn't know her.
She's Canadian. You wouldn't know her.
So he needs to find a piece of holy ground. So he goes out, and wherever he kneels is the holy ground. But things
be nice.
So he convinces about 12 followers to come with him, and they rent a house in St. Marie, and they open the Healthy Living Clinic. Well, they open it with the support of the SDA Church, because the SDA Church is funding everything.
So basically, it's a smoke show, so they get some money out of the Seventh-day Adventists.
Yep.
Okay.
And they're selling organic foods and books, and absolutely giving nothing back to the church.
Well, at least they're pulling one over on the church then.
Hey, I'm fine with that part. It's just the fact of what a scumbag this guy is that really bothers me. It's just like, if you would have put any effort into anything as much as you did just skating by,
trying to pull fast ones.
Yeah. And the selling organic foods and books is great. So I'm fine with that. But this is when he starts that he wants these followers that he's got. He has them start wearing tunics, and they're green for the women, and they're like tan for the men.
Okay, so they're pretty bland.
Yeah, well, but this makes them feel more like a group. He wants them all to. He wants to isolate, But
Okay,
Rock wears a dark brown one.
because he's
Okay,
special.
he's the chosen one. I don't know what you're not getting yet.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry.
the clinic makes a lot of money at first. $3,000 a week profit.
Wow. In 77, that's pretty damn good.
Right now, that's good. In 77, that's fucking blistering. That's no wonder the church. Well, okay. So that attracted new followers. And Liam Mark Fuchsia, he was the first follower that sold everything. Like he sold his house, gave up his job, everything to come in and follow. And then Jacques and Maurice, two others, they also sold everything and started following. The people and the church, the only thing making money. So once again, Roch's not doing anything here. But in January 8th, 1979, Giselle marries Roch because of her jealousy. She was sick and tired of all the women fawning over him at the house.
So he finally agrees to marry her.
He does agree, and he says they have to do it in Montreal if they're going to do it. So, but what he did was they drove to the wedding in a pickup truck, and he brought two of his female followers. And on the ride home, which is a 5-hour drive in January in Canada, he makes Giselle ride in the back on a mattress in the pickup truck while him and his two female followers sit in the cab of the truck with
friends in the front, bitches in the back. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a great start. Great start.
Oh my goodness. So on March 78th, Eau Claire and Geraldine, who had leukemia, Eau Claire brought in Geraldine because that's his wife who had leukemia, and they bring her to the wellness center to get her help. And Roch tells her with his infinite wisdom to stop the cancer treatments because that's never going to help you. You need grape juice and some of these pills I sell. It sounds like fucking Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Just selling those stupid things.
Oh my God.
So,
yeah.
But don't worry, everything works out. She dies. And
yeah. She made it like what, 3 weeks?
I think it was 2. It might have been pushing 3, but it was like, that medicine the doctors were doing.
We shouldn't laugh about that, but I mean, you gotta laugh about it.
I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the stupidity of this asshole and his cockiness. And but hey,
Speaking
don't worry,
of cocky,
because Roch brought her back to life in a room that no one else was in other than him and her. When he gave her a kiss, she came back to life. But then God spoke to him and told him, "Now it's her time." So,
okay, I must kill her again.
And all the followers were like, "Okay, well, that happened."
I totally get it.
He treats a 19-year-old girl named Gabriela Nato with MS. The church tries stopping him from treating patients, but that's never going to happen.
I'm so much smarter than a doctor.
Yeah. So that girl joins the cult too, the one with MS. She joins the cult. And in April 78, he's voted out of the SDA church. But it has nothing to do with the death of the leukemia patient. They find out that he's keeping all the money and not giving it to them.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, good job, church. It has nothing to do with the fact that this guy's a terrible asshole. Well, where the hell's our money? $3,000 a week.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So July 78, he has to leave the Better Health Clinic. And in February 17th, 1979, the world is ending. It's going to happen. That's good. It's going to happen. So the chosen followers will survive if they join him. Okay,
because
so
he's God's number one guy.
Yeah, they have got to find a place to go. But at this point, he thinks he might be starting to lose them. He's not making the money like he was. Right. He doesn't have as many things to do as what he did. So he gets the male members to marry the female members, and he chooses the marriages for them. So that way it's more of a family thing. Keep them all together.
Right. And they weren't really, the way he paired them, they weren't really attracted to each other or anything.
No, that's got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
God has spoken.
Yeah.
This is the law. Okay. So July 9th in the Gas Bay Peninsula, they go out to find the Holy Land, where they will build their compound. He names it Eternal Mountain. So all the members start work on the town. And, Roch doesn't, he tells him, he doesn't do a fucking thing. He tells him what to do because his stomach hurts. Oh, yeah, and he's got cancer.
Oh, okay. I have cancer. I mean,
I have the cancer.
This spiritual healer and best friends with God
can't heal himself.
Cure anybody, but this is his price. This is what he's got. This cross to bear is what this is. So he controls their food intake and their sleep, keeps them in complete isolation.
Wow. So he's basically working them.
He's pulling a Jim Jones.
Yeah, yep. And he's taking them away from everyone that they know.
Yep.
Isolated them and works them 8 to 12 hours a day and feeds them very little.
Yep. And if they do something that he dislikes, they get even less to eat.
Yeah, that's
right out of Jim Jones.
Textbook shit right there. Yeah.
In Jonestown, where it was just him playing over these intercoms like all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's coming up before too long because these things were happening at about the same.
I was going to say that goes down in the middle of all this, I believe.
Yep. So Yolandi leaves and Liam Mark Fuchsia leaves. Liam Mark Fuchsia was the first dude that sold all of his shit.
Right.
And he just leaves. That's got to be rough on you. I mean, I took a gamble, just didn't work out. I guess I go back to starting over completely. Yeah. So September 78, they complete work on the town, and the group gets new biblical names. So he gives them all biblical names. He chooses, because he doesn't think a lot of himself. He goes with Moses for himself.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's fair.
And at this point in time, he has been told by Giselle that the women are lonely. That because there's only a few guys and a shitload of girls in this group.
Right.
So he tells them all that, we got to get rid of the marriage. We got to get rid of the marriages, annul the marriages, and you know what? I'll marry them all. The sacrifices that this guy makes for the greater good.
The greater good.
But he marries them all but one. He does not marry Maurice, who's Jacques' wife. And she hated being there in the first place.
I was going to say, she's only there because of her husband, yeah.
Yeah. So when Giselle protests this, he just beats the shit out of her and then locks her in her room for 3 days. So that's how that works. Reasonable. That's how that works. Wait, my wife doesn't want me marrying all these women? Just beat the shit out of her, throw her in her room. She'll learn.
That's right.
But on November 18th, 1978, the Jonestown forced suicide, is what I like to call it, happens. And people are starting to get worried about cults.
And Canada actually did a really good job of researching, except for this particular group.
Well, apparently I'll tell you what, this guy looks like a 1980s wrestler to me. With the hair and the gigantic, he's just so, it's cartoonish looking, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you were going to pick a bad guy, you'd be like, yeah, have his hair long, but it's not exactly a skullet because it's real thick in the back, but in the front he's just bald, and then his beard's gigantic. I don't know, the guy's...
He's a fucking cartoon character, yeah.
Yeah. So he went in for a psych evaluation, but he just charmed the pants off of everybody. So they were like, no, everything's fine. Everybody's, So I
believe he held a press conference while he was doing that and had a whole bunch of local papers basically write up and say, just leave the guy alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's nice enough. You're going to ruin it. Here he is. He's trying to be a big lumberjack man and you're fucking it up.
This is a great man. Look at him. They're living peaceful out here in the sticks, bothering nobody.
Right.
But that gave him a huge ego trip to see the papers and stuff like that talking about how great it was. So he's no longer worried about it.
Just fueling the fire.
Yep. Yeah. So they're after this huge ego trip, he starts drinking because he doesn't have to follow his own rules anymore because he's God.
Right.
So he can eat whatever he wants and drink all the time because nobody can say anything to him because he has got it in the perfect position to where these people have followed this far, they've worked this hard, they've got this place. Now I own you and I can act however I want. So whenever they start to run out of money, he pimps 19-year-old girl Gabrielle with MS for food from a local grocery store owner because that's what the Lord would do.
That is what the Lord wants.
And you know,
I need some more Twinkies. You must go TCB, baby.
Twinkie. He would be a Twinkie eating motherfucker.
He was.
So-
I believe he was more. They were vegetarian.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he didn't care after this. I don't know if I think he might have stayed vegetarian, but he certainly didn't care about the other stuff. Like they said he was like pounding Pepsis and like potato chips and shit like that and just drinking beer. And then eventually he gets his own brewery, which would have fucking put Doris on her ass. If he was... So after they're working all day long, he goes into these long drunk rambles, keeping them awake. And if somebody was to fall asleep, he'd hit you with like a 4-inch club.
Hey, you fuckface, wake up, I'm talking to you.
All night long, yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, Maurice gets her ribs broke for eating too many pancakes, even though she's pregnant.
So she's pregnant and he breaks her ribs.
Yeah, because she ate too many pancakes.
That sounds like a real man of God.
Yeah, see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was made to stand naked outside in the cold.
And this is Canadian cold. It's not.
Yeah. It's not Texas cold. It's Canadian cold.
Yeah.
So the end of the world comes, but it doesn't. And so some people are kind of like, well, how come the world didn't end? Ha! You dumb bastards. It's because God's time is different than our time, and I miscalculated a little. So it could be any fucking day now.
I'm sorry about that.
That's bad. So bad. Yeah.
So
what a dipshit, man. I don't know.
So Jacques leaves the group in April of 1979. Roch lets him leave. This isn't the Jacques that's married to Maurice, by the way. This is a different Jacques because there's probably 12 Jacques in the group. Roch says, no, he didn't leave. I forced him to leave because the devil got in him. So,
okay. So at that point, then they all knew that they all still could be susceptible to the devil, even though they're right there with God.
The chosen one, and you can still be susceptible to it. So you got to hold on to what he says. Maurice wants to leave, so she tells her husband, the other Jacques, when Roch finds out that Maurice wants to leave, he tells the husband Jacques to chop off one of her toes.
Holy shit.
So Jacques says, no, I can't do that. So Roch makes fun of him and tells him he's got no balls. And when this didn't bother him as much as what Roch thinks it should have bothered him, he said, you either chop off one of her toes or I'm going to chop up all of them. So 2 other members hold her down and Jacques chops off one of her toes.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Crazy motherfucker.
And in April,
hello, my name is Roch, and it's my brother Jacques and my other brother Jacques.
Jacques, and Jacques.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh my God.
In April, there's a court order to undergo psychiatric treatment from her parents. Oh, Shantae receives the court order to undergo psychiatric treatment from her parents because they're wanting to get her back. Like they're still trying. But Roch won't let her go. When the cops show up, they come back with reinforcements and arrest Roch for obstruction of justice.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
throw that motherfucker in the slammer.
Not yet. Another psych test for Roch in Quebec. He actually convinced the head of the hospital that he's completely sane, and they actually scold the police, saying they're fucking with their religious rights.
Wow.
Two psychiatric treatments for this guy, and he passes both of them with flying colors. And now Now he comes back.
He was a hell of a bullshitter, if nothing else.
No, yeah, 100% he was that. He comes back now even cockier than before. Shortly after his return, Gabrielle dies. No foul play on that one. That was the one with MS.
Right.
And that he was pimping out, letting live in a tent. No foul play.
Not at all. No.
Yeah, no.
Completely natural causes.
Yeah, just freezing your ass off in the Canadian wilderness in a tent because you're no use to him other than to pimp off to the grocery store owner to get some Chef Boyardee or something.
Sorry about that.
So November 79, another follower, Guy Veer, tells him he wants to get out and come to meet them. Guy Veer was in a mental institution and he's seen something on TV about the cult. Well,
Okay.
they didn't call it a cult, it's this religious group.
Right.
And it was a positive thing on the television. So Guy gets out and finds a compound and is taken in, as a slave pretty much. He has to sleep all winter in a shed. And if he wants to move, he sleeps all winter in the shed while he's doing all the work for him. And if he wants to get a room inside the house, he has to take 24-hour watch of 3 kids, the 3 that aren't Roch's. Because Roch's impregnating all these women while he's their husband. Okay? So this guy has to watch 3. This guy that just got out of a mental institution, he
gets to watch these 3 kids.
Some infants and a toddler.
Oh,
so yeah, great call. As would happen. March 23rd, 1980, Roch and Francois. Roch Jr. and Francois. He actually gets a hold of his ex-wife and convinces her to come to the compound because it's complete. And she does.
What?
Yeah, she brings the kids out there to go join him.
Wait a minute. She was out. She saw what kind of fucked up shit was going on, and she decides to come back.
This is a charming motherfucker, man. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know if it was charming or his enormous penis.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that in there. He took that right out of Anton LaVey's book.
Yeah,
Anton LaVey's book.
He had an anaconda.
Yeah, his gigantic root. I think it must have summoned her back. But each time she would come back and bring Roch Jr. and Francois, he would turn it into a party.
Okay,
he would make a party of it, and
now a word from our sponsor.
Rock syrup will whip your fucking ass. It will make you say, ha ha ha. Oh my God, rock syrup's so good. You know what I think I need? I've had a hard time going to the bathroom. Why don't you put some of that rock syrup right up my ass? You ever had your pubes pulled out with tweezers? Burn the skin off my back. I love that rock syrup. Sure, it might smell like a wet, sweaty asshole that's full of hair because it's been out in the wilderness for way too long without a bath, but it's rock syrup.
Now available in new fiery ant flavor.
Daddy, it tastes like ants.
Tastes like ants in pain. Rock syrup.
One time, Maurice's baby Samuel wouldn't stop crying. So Roch says he can fix him with a circumcision. And he forces rubbing alcohol into Samuel's stomach to subdue him. And the baby dies because Roch's a fucking dipshit. Yeah. So the baby, He says the next day that they can't bury the baby because animals might eat, dig it up and eat it. We need to burn it, as in burn the fucking evidence because it's not that stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. But after this, there's some talk in the group about the foul play that might have went on. So Roch blames Guy for the death because he was supposed to be watching him.
Right.
He puts up a whole mock trial where they dress and Samuel's dad, Jacques, is the judge, and he appoints people to be the defendant, to be counsel, to be jury. And Guy's found not guilty on reasons of insanity.
Okay.
Because all of this isn't insane on its own.
Who put this motherfucker in charge anyway? Yeah, that's the insane person.
But that won't stand with Roch. He doesn't care for and he thinks in order to fix this, Guy should be castrated.
Holy shit.
Well, that's how you fix stuff. He convinces Guy because guy said, well, I went through the trial and everything seemed fine. I don't know. I don't think this is something that I should have to do. But he makes him write a letter of consent. He said it will fix his headaches and said it also cure his constant masturbation problem, which, well, yeah, it's, it's gonna, because you don't have any balls anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This poor fucking bastard.
So Roch puts a rubber band around his nuts and goes in with a razor blade. He cuts both nuts out, wraps them in a paper towel, and throws them in the trash. Here's the most fucked up part about that whole thing. November 5th.
Hold on. I've got a visual, and I got to get rid of it.
Okay.
I feel like I just got kicked in the nuts, man. Oh.
I've heard it. I've read it and wrote it down enough times that I'm just like, yeah, okay, it still hurts a little bit to hear. But and there was actually and she would Roch's ex-wife would come by on different trips out to bring the kids out to see him. And on one time he was actually blasted drunk because, like I said, he makes a party out of it.
Right,
he needs to do a feat of strength. He needs to show the people how strong he is, that he's, God's chosen one. Right. So he starts grabbing nails, these long nails, and bending them into a V. And all the followers start cheering and clapping and telling him how great it is. Well, his ex-wife is just sitting there like, what the fuck's going on? She eventually busts out laughing.
I would too.
So Roch drags her out of the chair, starts punching and kicking her. She's screaming for help, and the followers just sit there and watch.
Just blank stare, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he might have dropped out of school in the 7th grade, but I think he emotionally stopped growing about the age of 4.
Sounds right. Yeah, that's what a bully would do. Yeah.
Which almost seems offensive to a 4-year-old. At this. So, okay. So after that, November 5th, 1980, guy leaves the group.
I would. Took him long enough.
I'd have left the group before I lost my nuts. Yeah. I would have left the group before I spent a winter in a fucking shed in Canada. But
I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid.
he does tell law enforcement about Samuel's death, and he gets the cops to come back out, which is good. He lies about the death. I think he said that Samuel got kicked in the head by a horse or something.
Okay.
Completely lies about it, but the cops do come out. So Jacques, sounds like I'm making a rhyme, Maurice, Gabriel, and Guy all get charged. Claude gets obstruction. They take all the kids. So kids are gone.
Good.
Yes, this is great, right? Good news. They bulldoze that fucking compound and burn it down. That's the second shining star. Kids are gone.
All excellent. Yeah.
All this is good.
Can we stop the story now, and then it's over, right?
I wish. No, and then everyone was fine and everything was great. Nope, got so many pages left. September 29th of 82, the trial is over. And Roch...
Wait. We started in 1970 what?
4.
And now it's 1980 what?
82.
Oh my God.
Oh, and it goes a lot longer than this too.
I know. That's the scary part.
So yeah, the trial is over, and Roch gets. I gotta tell you, it's a hefty one. Tough. It's got to be 2 years.
He gets 2 years.
Dead infant, 2 years.
Oh my God.
So
it's got to be like what, like second, third degree.
I don't know. I don't know what it was they charged him with, but 2 years.
Oh my God.
So if you do want to become a serial killer, as this motherfucker is,
go to Canada.
Go to Canada. They'll just let you back up.
Well, we're sorry about that. We meant to let you out last year.
They seem like a nice guy.
Oh, fuck.
But over the 2 years, they get the followers. Well, they have to move out because they bulldoze the compound. But they move into apartments that are close to where he's in prison.
Okay.
And they spend up to $500 a month on collect calls. Like because the way they was affording some stuff in the first place was a bunch of welfare fraud, and they keep that going for the entire time they're together.
Okay.
But they're not. So most of the kids are gone anyway, but they're spending every bit of their welfare money on these collect calls from Roch to talk to them.
So he can continue.
So
filling their heads full of bullshit.
Yeah, these people are so far gone. They have 2 years away from this maniac to leave, start new lives, do anything. He loses not one follower.
That's fucked up.
Not one. They all stay. Even
These people all sound like they were probably broken before.
well, they had to. Yeah. Well, he's a predator.
Yeah.
I think there's something where
He
you
could
talk
sense.
about pedophiles and stuff like that can sense who they can start training, and they'll think they'll get away with it, or they know they'll get away with it. Well, he's kind of like that.
I've got the sixth sense.
Oh, and the
Respect.
super rough prison that he was in allowed one conjugal visit a month, and he makes more babies.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the hard time that you would do in Canada prisons, it's just got to be rough. You could just talk on the phone all day long and have conjugal visits. So February of '84, Roch is released.
So now we're 10 years into this. Correct.
Yeah, and we got a lot longer to go.
Wow. Can you imagine being in a cult for a year?
Like, well, the first time I seen him hit a woman, I'd have been out. I've been like, that's not. Well, I wouldn't have moved out there in the first fucking place. No way.
Yeah.
You want to move out in the winter or on this cold fucking woods out here and build a compound? No,
Okay.
not really.
Yeah. Same.
I don't care what you have done or what you say you can do. It's just crazy. So he's released, but some of the people they've gotten used to living in the apartments, right? There's running water, there's toilets,
There's heat.
Everything's nice. No, April 15th, they moved back out to Burnt River in Ontario because they can't stay in Montreal because of the court order of all the people that were arrested together are no longer to be together, but only
Gotcha.
in that area.
Okay.
So if they leave that area,
They're
do what
in
you
the
want.
clear.
Yep,
Yeah.
do what you want. In May, they start construction, building a cabin, bakery, sugar shack, stone sanctuary where Roch can talk to the master, and a water mill. And they even made like a wood mill, I think out of like a chainsaw motor or something to cut all the boards
Wow.
and shit to build it. And for what I read, it was pretty well constructed. So
Really?
yeah, so they knew what they were doing, but he puts his wives into separate levels. And of course, Maurice is at the bottom with her husband, Jacques. But her husband, Jacques, can no longer sleep with her because she's evil.
Okay.
Well, that's his whipping person. The
gotcha.
one that already hates him anyway. And so since money's low, it's not working as well with their welfare scam, even though some of it is working. He teaches them all to shoplift. He wants them all to shoplift. So
God told me to teach you to shoplift.
I'm picturing these tunics have like fucking Jinko's pockets on them. Put some stakes in there. Got all sorts of room on the inside of these things. But then what I also read is that whenever they did get caught, nobody arrested them. Like Roch knew what he was doing. He's like, because there's kids again now. Like he's made more kids. So they're going in there holding kids and stealing food. So if they do get caught, they just take the merchandise back and let them go. Because what are you going to get out of them anyway? But on January 31st in 85, they get banned from local stores. So they can't grow. Plants and stuff don't grow where they are living, where they're staying at. So Roch's idea is to get fruit and sell pastries. So they take a journey, get tons of fruit, and comes back. And this is where he comes up with the Anthill Kids, because that's what he names the fruit company. Because he says they all work together like a group of ants. So that's where the name of it comes from. And this actually does work out pretty good for a while. But the problem is, once the money starts coming in, Roch's back on the booze. We're going right back to it.
I'm on the night train.
Oh, what a piece of shit.
So it gets down to like the torture and stuff like that he's doing to all these people, and we'll get into some of that later. But he starts having like, there's certain nights where he gets stupid drunk and he invites all the women have to come in, all the women have to come in for a big orgy, big family orgy. And then he starts this kind of a wife fight club where he tapes off a big square on the ground.
First rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
Oh my God.
he puts a big square of tape on the ground, and they're supposed to stand in the middle of it naked and fight each other. So if you get a hit, you get a point. He's scoring it, so it doesn't really matter. He's going to give it to whoever he wants to anyway. But if you
Right.
step out of the square, you lose a point. He would even get in the ring sometimes with some of the men. But if you hit Rock, you were going to get fucking burnt with a blowtorch. So he always won. And then there were some times where he'd put a guy in there against like 2 or 3 girls, but these girls weren't, they weren't these super feminine, I'm going to break a nail girls. They've been working in the woods for fucking years building shit. They're
I'm looking
tough
at these
as
people and I
nails.
think naked, just like hairy armpits, giant bushes. Yeah.
That's I tried my best not to imagine the smell of the compound, but
Probably doesn't smell anything like patchouli. Let's put it that way. I'd take a normal hippie over this shit.
Oh my
Any day of
goodness.
the week.
I gotta stop talking. I gotta stop thinking about it. So the abuse has been going on for a little bit, but at this point he starts to hit his followers with hammers, the blood side of an axe. And there's some broken bones from kicking people. One of the things he liked to do was somebody messed up, and sometimes if he was drunk enough, because they said it only took like 3 or 4 beers, maybe 4 or 5 beers for him to get drunk, but he would drink for days, just beer and cognac.
And this had to do something with his dumping syndrome, like where he, like everything just went right through him. So like alcohol just, you know what I mean? Like it ran through his system really fast.
Oh,
So-
yeah. And in the new compound that they have built, he has a toilet right in his bedroom. So I think that's got a lot to do with it too. Or him being in prison, he was like, well, that's convenient. It's right there. So maybe that's where he got the idea. But so yeah, he would get blasted drunk and beat them if they'd done like almost anything wrong. And there was a thing that we do where he'd make them strip down naked and lay on the floor and piss on them. And toward the end, he would tell them to open their mouth.
Oh, pulling out the R. Kelly card.
Getting crazy.
Oh my
Golden
God.
showers. Another thing he did, which I like less, is like right after one of the followers had shit, he'd have one of the other followers that he's a little mad at go ahead and wipe their butt with their tongue. And then spread the shit on their face. Just kind of. So, because you got to think. No, you don't have to think. I don't even want to think about it. But and then after these punishments, like the followers would feel bad and they would write him letters like of apology and you can read them online. I'm not going to read any of them because I've got a gag reflex that won't get me through that shit because I can't stand it. Like
I read a few of those. Yeah.
So
I'm sorry that I vomited after you gave me the dirty Sanchez.
a dirty Sanchez would have been pleasant.
Comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. So on January 26, 1985, Gabrielle put her 5-month-old child in a wheelbarrow outside because Roch was annoyed with his crying, and the baby froze to death. I don't give a fuck if I saw this guy actually walk on water.
I believe when I heard this part, it was she was told to take the child outside because it was crying and roll it in the snow until it turned blue.
That was a different baby from earlier, but that baby lived, so I didn't throw that one in there. I'm just
okay. I was gonna say
because if I went through every bit of
the invention
abuse,
of the kitty cone.
Okay, so but at this point in time, after the prison stint, there are people coming out to check on the kids
Constantly.
Yeah.
From DCFS. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can't just bury this kid or burn it. So they have to call the doctors and say they called 911 if that's what it is up there or whatever. But they were using like his radio that he had, said that a baby died, brought it back inside, got it warm enough, and they just called it SIDS. So this guy is getting away with this stuff left and right. So he went to prison for 2 years over a baby's death, and then another baby dies.
We've castrated one person. We have killed 2 babies.
Yep, 2 babies dead.
And just mutilated countless others.
Yeah, all sorts of abuse. We'll get into more of that later. I mean, there's abuse throughout the whole thing, but I'm only going to bring up like the bigger stuff as it goes. as it goes a little later. But
As far as cults go, this is one of the more most abusive that I can think of. I mean, like,
yeah,
most cults is just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. At the end, he was all about keeping people alive so he could torture them.
yeah, yeah. Well, most cults, it's just like, I want to keep you alive so I can fuck you all the time, Which he was doing that too, but I guess, okay. So on October 85, Maurice finally gets to leave after begging for months. He says she can leave, but she has to leave her eldest daughter because she's going to become his next wife. She agrees to this, but that's only so she can get out and get to the police. And the police come back and raid the compound. Social workers come in and take all the kids again. So the new kids are gone now. Like,
Yay!
yes. Okay, so finally. But with what happened to the kids, there was things like he was teaching them how to masturbate so that they would know. And we're talking about toddlers and tiny kids in this. Okay,
This is
he
fucked up.
would make the followers get naked and have sex and have the kids watch. He even had some of the kids masturbate him.
Yeah.
So, and in front of everybody all the time. But when he goes in for another psych evaluation, he's done
Passes
nothing wrong. They said it's even good to teach the kids about sex. It's helping them out. Getting them, yeah. The abuse
Fucking
charges.
crazy French Canadians.
Yeah, the abuse charges don't stick, so there's nothing they can take him in on. But the kids are gone. So,
well, at least there's that.
yeah. So this time the violence really escalates. So hammers, blowtorches. He puts blowtorches on their stomachs and backs until he can see bubbles when they've done something wrong. He takes it to their genitals. He burnt the pubic hair off of some of them with a blowtorch.
Didn't he randomly take shots at them too?
Yeah, because they would run out. They knew, like, on his third day of his binge was when it was going to get bad, so they just try to stay scarce, and they'd be out in the woods. He'd just be out there popping shots off at him with a gun. He was too blasted. I mean, he hit a couple. I know one got caught in the shoulder one time.
Yeah.
But Claude gets it bad. Claude starts to tell him that this is a bit fucked up and he needs to change the way he's doing something. So immediately, this gigantic 4-year-old breaks a bottle and cuts Claude's neck with it. But he doesn't die. He gets no, he lives because the wives nurse him back up. But what did happen after he got a little bit better is Brock pulled 11 of his teeth out with a pair of pliers, and he got one of his wives to break his leg with a sledgehammer. And then he made him put a rubber band around his balls and wear it until he says he can.
Misery shit right there, bitch.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. That's exactly what I pictured too, with the board in between his ankles. It hurts to
Hobbling.
But he puts a rubber band around his nuts, says he can take it off whenever he tells him to. So he does take it off after a few days, and it takes about a month, and then one of his balls gets infected. This is not what you want to hear. That's coming up because the amateur surgery is coming back, and
That's not good.
Roch can help him, through prayer. No, through a razor blade. So yeah, he gets held down. He cuts his nuts open with a razor blade. He cuts the wounded one out and cauterizes the wound with a piece of red hot steel. Yeah. So in fall of 88, Solange, one of his wives, is sick. And Roch says it, must be her kidney. I can, she's got stomach problems. It's got to be the fucking kidney. I got this. Did you see how well I done the last ones? How those went. So
I'm a professional.
So he gets blasted again, and he tells her, "Well, I hope you're ready. It's time." Just when anything would hit him,
whenever the thought occurred,
yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, let's do that.
Now it's time to do it. But first, she needs an enema of syrup, oil, and water. This lasts a half an hour. He's given her an enema for a half an hour.
You're forgetting the part where this was done on the kitchen table.
Oh yeah, it was done in the bakery. Yeah, on the bakery table.
Yeah. Totally hygienic.
So after the half hour, of that dreamy treatment, there's a puddle of this mixture of bullshit and her shit
all over the table.
all over the table. Tells her to flip over and makes an incision on her side, about a 4-inch incision. Reaches in with his bare hands and pulls out about a 4-inch section of her intestines. Says, "There you go." So he has one of his other wives sew her up because she's good. I mean, she'll be fine.
She's the best.
Yeah, and he does make her get up. He does make her get up and move around after this. He's like, "See?" He went to bed.
Walk it off, bitch. Walk it off.
So the next day, he tells her she needs to take a hot bath with like whatever bullshit from the woods he thought should be in the water with her, and then she needs to take a cold bath. The super cold bath put her into shock because it's Canada.
Yeah,
and she lives for a couple days, but then she dies. After this, Roch is so distraught. You gotta believe me on this, that he feels so bad that he tries to kill himself. He runs a hose from the tailpipe of the van into the van's window, just sits in there. In a fucking van. Could you have picked a smaller vehicle maybe to happen quicker? Or did you just not want to die?
Oh. Stupid piece of shit.
There was other thing. He even tried to get the group to drown him. He took two whole jars of aspirin.
Yes, and
extra strength aspirin.
Extra strength. Yeah.
So he was really wanting it to happen.
Yeah.
And then he tried to have his crew drown him. Yeah. Well, that didn't work either. Because God doesn't want him to die.
That's right.
That's what he comes out with after this. And then the group buries Solange for the first time.
What do you mean the first time?
Well, this is only the first time they bury her. I mean, he feels. I think I'm saying her name right.
Wait a minute. She coming back as a zombie? I didn't miss that. Did I miss something?
No, she's not coming back at all. But he has a dream that he went back behind a tree and jerked off, and his load turned into her head, and then her body formed, and he made love to her. So he's pregnant with her now, and he can fix her. So
I'm not crazy.
So the group has to dig her back up because he's realized how to bring her back to life, Dahmer style. He has a follower drill a hole in her skull and then put in, I don't remember what tool it was, but a tool was put in there to make the gap wider so that he could jerk off into her skull.
He skull fucked her.
Nah, no. I don't think his humongous wang would have got into the drill hole. I think it was just mainly for the seed, because I think that's what he was meaning by he was pregnant with her.
Okay.
So, and they dig her up like 4 different times doing crazy shit, and she looked worse and worse and worse every time.
Oh yeah, the body's got to be decomposing and
yeah.
That's another lovely picture in my head. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. So one of the wives, I think it was Giselle, tells him they should burn her. She's thinking they should burn her because, well, this is ridiculous and it's awful what I'm seeing. But she said, that was her final wish. So, of course. Okay. Well, he agrees to that. But first, he's going to need a piece of her rib to make a necklace out of. So the whole question of who are you wearing would actually make sense in this case. So they burn her into ashes, and then all the followers get to go out there and take a piece of bone if they want to keep it with them. He puts some of her ashes into a jar with a picture of him and her, and he puts it in the stone room that was made for him to talk to God.
Right.
Where he jerks off in it about once a day. No, it's going to work. She's coming back. It's right there. It's so close. It's going to happen. In the winter, he certainly did.
Yes, he did.
Many times.
And over. What a sick fuck.
Yeah. In winter, another member, Josie, runs away from the compound. So there's another. I guess there's more bright lights than what I let on in the beginning, but there's not many.
Well, I'll take every winner chicken dinner.
You gotta have
I
it.
can hear, man. Yeah.
And July 25th of 89, Gabrielle's hand is messed up because he stuck it in a fucking vise and cramped it down. But he didn't like the way the doctors fixed it because every once in a while his wives would run away, like I said, but not always into the woods. Sometimes they would run into these like abuse shelters and they would stay. Well, she got medical help for her hand and it was in a cast. Well, he didn't like the way they did it because, well, probably because God told him they did it wrong. So, so he tore off the cast with pliers. He ripped the wires out from inside her hand that were holding their bones together. And then he drove a huge knife through her hand to hold it on the table. Because
Like impaled her hand on the table.
yeah, that's what surgeons do. So he wants he begins surgery. He dives right in, starts cutting on her all day until, well, he's drank too much. He's tired. He's got to go to bed. So she's just stuck there.
She just stuck to the fucking table.
She's stuck to the table. But you gotta realize how exhausting that is to speak to God and come in jars and, you know,
I've had a busy day. I need my rest.
So she does get help. She does leave and she goes back to the shelter. But she ends up, after everything gets fixed from being at the doctor, she goes back to Rob.
You left out some juicy details.
Oh, about the cleaver chopping off the complete arm. Yeah, I probably should. Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. We don't have to get into it because it's pretty gross.
Yes, it is pretty rough. But yeah, well, he had before he had passed out and went to bed, he had chopped like so much of her flesh away from her like wrist, from around her wrist, it was down to bone. And then he had, he did it. I think the next day, baby. He
had a follower.
A follower did it with the cleaver.
With the knife, and then removed all the flesh away from the bone until the bone was totally exposed. And another key thing you didn't mention is that she didn't scream or anything the whole time this was going on. She just sat there and took it.
Yeah, well, they all had to. Yeah, even the earlier one.
Can you imagine just sitting there and having somebody slam a knife through your hand, and then somebody cutting all the flesh away from all your bone, and you're just sitting there watching it and just being like totally cool, like la la la.
I can't imagine any of this.
This is brainwashing to the extreme.
I thought it was after she left. I thought she went to the shelter and then came back, and that's when her arm was chopped off. Because she did end up with a prosthetic, but it must have been, it got chopped off. Then she ran away and came back. Okay. She lives through this.
2 days later, he said it looked gangrenous, and he wanted to take some more flesh away from her nub, and that's when she ran away.
Okay.
And made up a story saying that it was a horrible accident, and her boyfriend had chopped her arm off.
No. After this part, then she has to go back to the hospital again, but she escapes again and then goes to the hospital, and she tells that her boyfriend wrecked the car, and that's how she lost it. Was in a car wreck.
Yeah, but that she had been with Roch Thériault up on his farm. She did admit that.
She did finally. Yeah, she finally confessed, and they raid the compound. Roch escapes for a while. Roch's still on the run. And was caught on October 6th of 89 while trying to scavenge parts from an old water heater. Like him and one of his boys was out there.
My other brother, Jacques.
Yeah. And so for the stories that she'd told him, and they went out there, of course they burnt the body, but there's 2 dead babies, 2 dead people. It's only a 2nd-degree murder charge. And in this strict Canadian law system, he gets he gets a 12-year sentence, Zach, but the judge he reduced it down to just 10 because he felt like he was really sorry about what he did.
He feels really sorry about it.
So
shit.
He would have been released in 2014, but guess what? He had a cellmate, Matthew Gerald McDonald, Could you imagine the living hell of having that guy as a cellmate would be? Just his never-ending bullshit rants about how he's God and he can rule everything. Well, it didn't last very long because Matthew fucking shanked him in the neck. This is the brightest star right here. This is oh Canada. This guy needs a fucking statue outside the Molson Brewery. But so Matthew comes up to the guards, blood all over him with the shank in his hand, puts it in the guard's hand, and here's his quote: "That piece of shit is down on the range. Here's the knife. I sliced him up." Yay!
No fucking shit.
Golly. I need a beer.
Yeah, somebody get that boy a beer.
I even broke out my Montreal Expos hat for this story. Thought for the good luck.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to need a serious palate cleanse after this.
I'm going mild after this one. That's too many.
I'm going to watch some Disney movies or some shit. I don't know.
I gotta do a story where someone doesn't turn into a complete raging nut bar after beer.
Yeah, maybe next time we do something a little lighter.
Well, I'm definitely gonna do that. Definitely. Oh shit, had to go into some ghost stories or something fun like that. One of these times I have to do like some creepypasta reads or something like that. And I don't know. I'll probably make fun of most of those but I don't know. I've heard some that I really like. So.
Yeah. Some here too. Yeah, I've heard a few that are pretty fun. I'm always up for a good time, a good laugh.
Well, that one didn't have a lot of laughs in it.
No, because it was zero.
But
zero laughs.
I gotta go back and say the fact that these people were victims. You know, they were in a rough spot when he met them. He picked them out that way. He isolated them. He got them to where he wanted them to be. They were all alone. But for fuck's sake, man. It gets to a certain point. Like I said, if I would have saw him walk on water, I wouldn't have gave a shit when I saw him throw a child against a wall. I'd have beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
But they burnt in your brain.
Oh, and I left some of the stuff that he did to the kids out because I just can't take it. That is one thing that's my limit when people do stuff to kids. But most of what I got came from the book Savage Messiah. So if you're interested in this and want more, that's got all of it.
But just be prepared to be very angry.
Oh, it's frustrating. Oh, it's so bad that I was just like, nah, I'm not putting that in there. I'm sorry I read it. I never want to talk about it again. I don't have to. So I just wanted to get to the part where it was like, oh, the kids leave, because there was things that he did where you weren't allowed to show the kids any love. No one was, only Roch. Right. And he never did. Yeah. And if they weren't his kids, which most of them were, they were treated even worse.
How many kids did he end up having? It was like 20.
He had a case.
It was more than a case.
Was it more than? I thought it was 24. I thought he had a whole case of kids.
Only thing I found was like I thought it was like 26, but
it could have been from the ones that were taken. Well, if you count the two with his ex-wife, so that would have been 24, 26. And then I think he had two more when he was in prison. So it could have been pushing 30.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I can't believe that asshole, that he was able to even have sex 30 times, because he is an ugly bastard, in my opinion.
Apparently he had piercing blue eyes.
And a huge wanger, but
good
Lord.
That probably helped a lot too. Yeah.
You think you'd need a bit more than that.
Well.
No personality on this guy. Well, it was nothing but personality, I think. Because apparently he was able to talk his way in and out of everything.
In and out.
Hello, my name is Roch Thériault. Oh.
New baby. Yeah, I hope you're happy, baby. I'm gonna go jerk off in this jar of ashes out here from the lady I killed.
I'm going to bring her back to life.
She'll be with us any day. I tried it. It's not bad.
No. It was good. That's good.
So, well, I don't know.
Like I said, I think it might. I have fucking Little Mermaid or some shit. I don't know. just to cleanse the brain.
I gotta watch something. Just anything. Now you can watch Suspiria so the goblins will float his memory away.
Well, guys,
Not the
this
remake.
is Zach,
Spar.
and we appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll see you next time. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at
hmfppod@gmail.com.
and don't forget to like, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts.
Please.
We'll see you guys next time.
Later.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
They're coming to get you.
Hello, Mr. Fancy